YouTube page and the YouTube channel, if you will set you up and with everything that you need. I hope to catch it all up on the website a little bit later today. Okay? All right, Anna, you can go now. So, let's take a look at the quiz. I was very impressed with a lot of quiz papers. I expected lots of very, very poor grades because these were all old state assessment type questions. They were literally some of the handful of questions that the state released for us to give to you guys. And I just think that if on the state test, if you get half the questions right, you're doing awesome. Awesome strong, you're doing well. If you can get 3/4 or more right, then you're doing awesome. So I was kind of surprised that we had kids getting half and more right. Lots and lots of kids. We had a good number of hundreds. So let's take a look at the first question. Speed of light in a vacuum is 299, 792, 458 meters per second. Which number written in scientific notation is the best approximation of that speed of light? So what I did was I rounded it off first. And when I round it off, I get 300 million. And now I go to scientific notation. 3, 6, 7, 8. So I moved it 8 places, and I have a 3.0 there. How come you know A and B couldn't possibly be the answer? Because, yeah, there's 0.3. It have to be between 1 and 10. Okay? So the first answer is D. Any questions on number 1? Yes?
I did everything. I just chose the wrong answer.
We call that mental spasms. I'm really good at those. I have them all the time. So I feel for you. All right? I don't worry about it because you probably won't have one tomorrow. They flare up every now and then, kind of like you just twitch, but you don't have repeated twitches in a row, and you don't have repeated mental spasms on quizzes and tests in a row. So you'll probably get it right. Actually, tomorrow you won't take a quiz, but you will on Thursday. You'll get the second of this one. All right, now the next one says something interesting. Which ordered pair is the best estimate? And what's so important about this question is that they're kind of getting at if you can figure out the scale here. Notice on the x-axis it's 2, 4, 6, 8, not 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is right in the middle between -2 and -4. What's right in the middle between -2 and -4? -3. And the y matches up with 2, so it's -3, 2, choice B. Okay, any questions?
Nope.
Good. And I also want to emphasize this word estimate. Estimate doesn't mean it has to be super exact. It's just close enough. All right. I made up some review sheets today for review starting. We got like 4 or 5 more lessons left that are brand new for the year. And then after that, everything for the rest of the year, for the most part, is review. And estimate is a word that we're going to come across a lot on the review sheets I made up today. Estimate means you don't have to be exact. Round it off, it's close enough. All right, which one does not represent a linear function? I thought that I didn't do a very good job during the year of explaining this. I know I did go over it, but most things, like how many times have we covered scientific notation? How many times have we done slope y-intercept? How many times have we done y equals mx plus b? We've done these so many times. But I didn't emphasize nonlinear very much. So it's something that in the review I want to do a lot more of. The one in here that's nonlinear is choice D. Now, what the choices B and D both have in common that the other choices don't have? They have the exponents. Here's the thing. Can't I just say 2 squared is 4 and get rid of that exponent? I can't do that with the x squared. It's on the x. So whenever the x is being squared, it's quadratic. God bless. It's quadratic. And if it's quadratic, God bless, that means it's not linear. This is the one that looks like a parabola. Remember we did the parabolas? They look like U's? Right? But we didn't do a lot with it. We only did a little bit. And that's why I think I didn't do a very good job of teaching it this year. Of course, the really cool thing is that during review, I get to emphasize the things that I think I let you down on a little bit and get better at it. So I intend to do that. So the moral to this question is this, or the story that you have to remember. Which one is not linear? Everything where the x has an exponent of 1 is linear. Here it's an exponent of 1. The x has an exponent of 1, so it's linear. I don't care what the 2 has. I can just figure out what 2 squared is. I don't care if it says 2 to the 100. And then over here, the x has an exponent of 1. Here, the x has squared. That's quadratic. That's not good enough. All right, so everything where the exponent on the x is 1 is going to be linear. Yes?
I don't think that's right, but like, how do you solve it?
They didn't ask you to solve them, so I don't want to get into it. I think their whole idea was to not even discuss solving. They wanted to just identify which type each was. All right, so now what we're going to do is just cover ground quickly, and I hope effectively, and get you guys to review scatter plots just a little bit, and then begin our study of shapes, and introduce you to the formula sheet that you're going to get on your state assessment test. And then the period will be over. And remember what I said, please don't do your homework tonight. I won't be here tomorrow, so in class tomorrow, you will be given an opportunity to start your homework. If you finish the homework in class tomorrow, then you have no homework tomorrow night. If you do not finish it in class tomorrow night, then you do finish it at home tomorrow. And we will check 3 homeworks the next day. We will check the one that was due today, plus the 2 from class. All right, which equation is not linear? Think of what we just discussed a minute ago. Which one's not linear? D, good. All right, so that was the first question there. All right, come on, here we go. What's scatter mean again, guys? Spread out, good. What's plot mean? Put it on a graph, good. Scatter plot means to spread them out, put them on a graph. Okay? All right. Now, some key characteristics. The points do not usually fit directly on a line. Remember that?
Yes.
They do not usually fit directly on a line. So now I just give you some more scatter plots like yesterday. This is a line of best fit. How do you know this is a good line of best fit? Man, yeah, it's in between the points. A couple above, a couple below. This is a very good line of best fit. Would that be a good line of best fit? No, because they'd all be on one side of it. Good. All right. Now we go to this guy, flat terrain. Is that a good line of best fit? I think it's not terrible, but I don't think it's a really good one because I have 1, 2, 3, 4 points on one side and 1 point on the other side. I think it could be a little bit better doing this. Right? Does everybody agree? Yeah. So I might give credit for that one, but I would prefer to see you put where the green is right there. All right. I think that's good enough. Yep, scan 2. On this paper, I want you to draw a line of best fit through those points. Go ahead. Just draw a line of best fit. Take it, go. Good. It should have a line intersection. No, it should, in fact, you should definitely put it through the middle of the points and then wherever it lands, it lands. Okay. So here would be, I think, a decent line of best fit. What do you think? Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, maybe it could have been a little bit higher. I wouldn't go any lower, that's for sure. But anything around there is good. So Candace, Giselle, Chris, and Lenny all could have been around there, and every one of them could have had a different line of best fit, and they're all correct. All right, it's not like with a line of best fit, there's one absolute answer, okay? Usually what they do with these questions is they ask on multiple choice, and they say, which one is a line of best fit? And one of them will look like the red one, one of them will look like the blue one of them will look like the green one, and one of them will look like this other green one that was supposed to be black, and they'll say which one represents a line of best fit. Obviously, which is the one that looks like a line of best fit? The red one. Good, okay. So that's how you will typically see it on a test. Does that look like a good line of best fit?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I mentioned yesterday, next year you can use this calculator, and the calculator will actually give you an equation for that line. But this year we don't do that. So the next thing that we need to speak about is a correlation coefficient. And we said yesterday that there are some very strong correlations. For example, if you are older and heavy, you will probably die younger than if you are skinny, okay? If you think of most of the older people you know who are above 50, there are plenty of heavy people, there are plenty of thin people. Above 60, there's not as many heavy people. Above 70, starting to run out of heavy people, and the ones you see are often very hurt, and they're either in wheelchairs, or they have canes, or walkers. And then if you hit 90, and you look for a heavy person who's in their 90s, very difficult to find. Most 90-year-olds are all skinny, all right? Because it's harder, if you're heavier, your heart has to pump more, it works harder, and over time, that wears you out. Plus, it wears your joints out, it wears out your organs, because to get heavy, you generally tend to eat more. So everything gets a little bit more worn up, and a little beat up. So is it guaranteed that if you're heavy, you're gonna die young? No. But it's more likely, and the coefficient is a way of measuring how close the data is to what's going on. So, scan 3. Now, if the data is packed up really, really tight around the line of best fit, then the correlation coefficient is close to 1.0. If it's really spread out, oh yes, I know I did, go to this page, all right? If it's really spread out, then there is no correlation coefficient, it's 0. So, which one do you think has the strongest correlation coefficient? Dennis? A does. If I drew the line of best fit, all the points are really close to the line of best fit. So this one might be something like 0.85. It's pretty good. Okay? We just had, this actually has real life application stuff. Unfortunately, Ziva is not pregnant. And they've done all of these studies that there's this hormone called progesterone. And when a female dog hits 5.0 on their progesterone level, they usually release the eggs so that they can become fertile. But that doesn't mean every single dog in the world releases it at 5.0. It means some might release here, some might release here. So we always time it to be around 5.0, but I suspect Ziva's one of the ones on this side. So while most of the points might be in here, there's a few out here, and I think Ziva's out here, and I think it missed her timing when it came to getting her pregnant, and I think that's why now twice she hasn't been able to get pregnant.
I'm gonna try again.
That's a long story, and it all depends how much it costs. So, anyway, there's another line that could go here, line of best fit, but is this correlation coefficient as high as this one? No, so maybe I would call this one 0.55. I really don't know what it is, but I know it's not as high as 0.85. What about letter C? What would that correlation coefficient be? Well, it's negative because it's going down. And I would say it's probably like 0.70 or so. It's somewhere between them, right? It's tighter than these guys on B, but it's not as tight as A. And D, I would say it's 0. There's nothing in there that I can say. Okay? All right. So those are correlation coefficients, scatter plots, etc. Now we go to the last topic we cover for the year. Shapes and formulas. Very quickly, take a look at that. Tell me which one of those is a function. C is a function. Very good. A and B both failed the vertical line test. We're going to skip over the find the line segment one. We don't have time for that today. The benefits of state testing. As far as whether or not they're similar, yes, these two are similar because this guy's twice as big as this guy. When two shapes are similar, they have the same shape, but everything is proportional. 5 times 2 is 10, 5 times 2 is 10, 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, so there's some geometry topics that we've covered earlier from the year. Now we go to scan 5, and you have 4 choices, one of which is a negative correlation or a negative association. Take a look at those 4 graphs, tell me which one is a negative correlation or a negative coefficient, negative association. Which one, guys? D. D, very good, okay. Now we go to scan 6, And we go to the grade 8 math reference sheet. And what you see right here is the exact formula sheet that you will be given on your state test. And this formula sheet has on it formulas for different shapes. Circles, triangles, parallelograms, trapezoids, right circular cylinders, right rectangular prisms, right triangular prisms, and right circular cone. So the first thing you have to be able to do is look at these pictures. And when you're given words or shapes in a diagram, or words in a paragraph, you need to pick the right formula. And then you simply apply that particular formula. Now, the periods today are kind of messed up because of the testing, and I'm going to be out tomorrow, etc. So I'll get into why these formulas work at another point in time. I just want you to apply the formula. So for number one, and you did a lot of this when you were in 6th and 7th grade, it says find the circumference and the area of each circle below. Now, can you look on your sheet, please, and find the formula for circumference of a circle? What does it say is the formula for circumference of a circle?
2 pi.
2 pi r. Okay, so if I want to find the circumference of this, I have to do 2 times, who knows what pi equals about?
3.115.
Right, and most of the time they round it to either 3.14 or 3.1416. They do one or the other, okay? And then they look for the radius. Now, in this diagram, what is the radius? 4. If it goes all the way across, like in the number 2, is that the radius or is it the diameter? Diameter. Diameter goes all the way across, radius goes halfway across, so I would multiply by 4. And if I do this times this on your calculator, you get the answer for the circumference. What would be the area? What's the formula for area? Davis? Good, pi r squared. What's the radius in this problem? 4. So it would be pi times 4 squared. And whatever pi times 4 squared works out. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Tomorrow, you finish up all of the homeworks, and we have 3 or 4 more days of these formulas and using the formula sheet. So if you're a little confused, you will be okay. Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta, arrivederci. God bless, vaya con Dios, toodaloo. Ta-ta, arrivederci, smile a lot, ciao, leave Zane, adios amigos y amigas, cheerio.